Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Ski Instructor Podcast. My name's Dave Burrows. I'm the director and owner of SnowPro Ski School based here in Val d'Isère in Switzerland. Looking out the window today, it's overcast, snow, even though it's the middle of June, snow has fallen on the tops of the Dent-du-Midi here. We've got some real weird weather going through right now, which is very, very frustrating because you don't know what it's going to do on any given day, and I don't think the guys who run the Swiss Meteo app even know what it's going to do any day. They've got this kind of weird predictive weather thing that they've got where they sort of half commit to the weather forecast and then tell you what it might also do, and you can as a consequence it kind of doesn't really tell you anything. So looks like it's going to brighten up, and this kind of this last bit will have just be the last of it, I'm hoping, but yeah, it's been a strange few weeks for sure. I'm fully into the thick of the sort of the inter-season. I regard that as the period kind of May, June, July and August when that's the time when we have to get everything done in preparation for the next winter, because for us sales season starts in about end of August, start of September, and yeah, so everything's got to be tidied up. There's a whole bunch of writing to do. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that needs rewriting, and a whole bunch of things in the background that really need tidying up so that I'm comfortable going into next season. Plus, I'm on the recruitment trail, so I'm also looking for a couple more ski instructors to join my team for this winter, and waiting for those CVs to start to trickle in. So yeah, it's busy time of year. However, that doesn't stop the podcast interviews, and I have here part one of an interview that I did with Harry McFadden. So some of you may know Harry. He's a lovely guy, Kiwi guy, and he, I think he should be just about getting on snow now at the start of the New Zealand season. So just because there's no snow here doesn't mean that people aren't skiing somewhere. So yeah, those guys are just getting going, and Harry's working with Rookie Academy this season down there, and also runs a business called Ski Co, which is based in Europe for the European winter. Harry's a trainer with the New Zealand Association, and he's also qualified in multiple other ski instructor associations, which you will hear as you listen to part one of this episode. In part one, we talk about the upcoming season. We talk about fatigue between ski seasons, how one gets going at the start of a new ski season, journey to full cert, and the differences between ski instructor systems. And I had a really lovely chat, and I hope that you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. So without further ado, let's get going. And I started off speaking to Harry about the upcoming Kiwi season.
3 weeks.
3 weeks? It's opening in 3 weare
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And where are you skiing out of? Because you're going to be skiing with rookies, right?
Yeah, so we are based in Wanaka, and we ski mainly on Treble Cone.
Okay.
And Treble Cone is not open for another 6 weeks, but the other mountain in Wanaka, Cardrona, opens in 3 weeks.
Wow. That's not long at all. So you've gone from one kind of from European winter, you've had what, maybe a month off, and then back on snow in 3 weeks?
I'm probably having about seven to 8 weeks off from this last season.
Okay.
I've been off snow. Yeah, I've been off snow for a month now. So yeah, 7 weeks.
Wow.
Off.
How do you? We're just going to go straight into this. So I'm not going to do like the big welcome or anything, but I'm curious to know like how you cope with that. If someone said to me right now that I would have to put my boots back on and go skiing, I would just be like, no, not interested. I'm not quite there yet. I'll probably go skiing in July or August, but I'm not ready for at least a month or two. Do you get any of that kind of fatigue, or are you just kind of crazy to go for it?
A lot of me is just crazy and keen to get into it and go skiing. But I do get that fatigue, absolutely, like anyone else. And I believe that what allows me to get through it easily is because it's a change of scenery, it's a change of people I'm skiing with, and it's a change of work. I think if I lived in Zermatt, for example, and just skied year-round there, I'd get a lot more over it.
Yeah, I could see that. It's I don't know. I'm going through this weird thing at the moment. I injured my back quite badly in December, just before the season. It's a miracle, really, that I managed to make it through the season without kind of re-injuring it. But the I've kind of got this thing going on at the moment. So I went on the mountain clean-up day yesterday, where we took a whole bunch of kids up the mountain here and just searched for trash and kind of took. It was really cool, actually. Like, we found all sorts of things, but it was a really nice thing to do, and it's nice to see the kids looking out there, the local schools here, like looking after the mountain and cleaning up, after all these people have been and gone, but like today, I'm really feeling that, like, my body seems to be reacting. All it does is it just has like massive inflammation, and kind of I'm really stiff the day after, and all I've essentially have done is gone for a walk on the mountain. It's not big exercise that I've done, but I'm still struggling. My body's kind of not really wanting to kind of absorb that kind of work at the moment. It's really frustrating. But I wonder how much of that is actually part of, it's still fatigued from the ski season. It's still fatigued from like skiing every single day for 5 or 6 months or something.
I'd say it's probably potentially quite a lot of fatigue from the ski season. Like, I personally do find that I need 7 weeks off at least, and then as well as that, when I start the season in New Zealand, it's not full power straight away. Yeah. It's kind of 3 weeks of it being quite slow. There's not many pistes open. I'm not working every single day, so it's kind of a slow build into it. Yeah. I think it'd be a lot harder if I just went straight in full power instantly.
Are you able to go straight into it full power instantly, or do you have to kind of build it up from a low level? The reason I ask that is because when I get back on snow, I have to do like at least a few days of kind of slow basic parallel stuff to get the feeling back. Skiing is not a natural thing for me. It doesn't, it's not, I wasn't skiing from the age of 2 like some of the locals who just jump on skis and rip. It takes a while for me to get the sensation back and the feeling. Like, how about you? Do you have to build it up, or do you just go straight in for it?
It takes me. I'll do a couple of slower runs, mm-hmm. and then I'll go out and try carving on moderate terrain, and I can pretty much get it all back within a day. Okay. I'd say. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that takes me a week to get right, or maybe even 2 weeks, is short turns. Mm-hmm. For me, being able to create balance on the edge in a more performance short turn takes me a lot longer. My default is a more basic twisty short turn, and I have to build up to that more carb performance short turn over a few weeks. I mean, that certainly, that kind of echoes my own experience. But I've kind of, as I've got more used to kind of building up, and I've kind of got a plan now. That's what I'll try and do, is just go. Maybe I'll go to Sasfay or something in August, and just like get do that slow stuff, and then just kind of keep it in tune. Maybe go once a month until the ski season really gets going, or until kind of we start working here in October, November. That's kind of, because you've got to be presentable when you kind of first show up, for client paying lessons. That's why I do all that stuff in the summer, is because you kind of,
just like I say, it just takes a while for it to come back for me, to remember all the things. And I keep a notebook actually of all the things that I was working on last season that really worked, and then I can look back at that and say, okay, that's where I was, that's kind of my jumping off point, these are the things that we're working on, now let's see where we end up now, where we can go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important, remembering those kind of technical cues or little focus points that you were working on from the last winter, because that can allow you to get back into it, I feel, quicker. And personally, I believe that I like to finish each winter with some really clear cues. And if I think about them just mentally, like, every couple of days or something, I find that I can get back into it a lot quicker. Yeah. I think if I never completely switch my brain off from skiing because I'm obsessed with it. And I think maybe as well, if I switch my brain off out of skiing, it would take me longer to get my feet back.
Yeah.
I do think that mental training really assists me.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, it's I'm thinking more these days about the business of skiing, like running and creating this kind of thing that I've created, and I also, well, for me, I'm finding lately it's kind of nice to switch off. I've got a couple of little other projects that I'm kind of working on, so I don't think about the technicalities of skiing too much over the summer until I get back on snow, and then I'm kind of there. But I've got so much other stuff going on. But it's I can see where that's coming from. I think that's why it's useful to kind of keep some notes, or at least like you say, have a clear idea of where you were, and then you can just pick that up and say, right, okay, now I know what I was working on. So yeah, the bit that I find that comes slowly to me is the ability to kind of stand. Is that kind of what would you call it? Like the rotation. So being able to stand above your leg and like rotate the ski, using the legs. That's the one that does not come very quickly. That takes a few weeks to come at the start of the season. It's like that ability to kind of corkscrew the leg into the ground is the one that takes the longest to come. Kind of at the start of the season, I'm always kind of just hanging the leg out there and I'm not really getting over it. And then I have to try and remember those initial trigger movements. Right, actually, my initial movement needs to be out over the new outside ski, and then you can start to work the leg, as opposed to just hanging it out there and waiting for something to happen. That's kind of always the one that for me it takes the longest to come back. Apart from everything else. Yeah, I think it's interesting. We all have our own little individual things that we need to warm up with and to get ourselves back into skiing, and that's where I think it's also really important to have like a bit of a personalized back to snow plan for yourself or anyone that wants to become or be skiing at a high level. Yeah. Because you know what you need to try and dial in on, because you have a clear understanding of where you were when you last skied, and hopefully you've got a clear understanding of a couple of focus areas that challenge you at the start of the winter. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I go to that basic parallel thing, is because, the basic parallel, you can really get that sensation of, right, I'm moving out over the outside ski now, and then I'm going to sort of screw that ski into the ground. And that kind of brings it all together for me, that one thing. Because you can kind of feel that sort of rotation of your legs under you. A little bit like you sometimes see those videos of like, what's his name? Is it Richie Berger? Who's like doing that stuff on the snowblades. Not snowblades, what am I calling it? Inline skates. That kind of feeling is that's what I'm trying to find. But anyway, we've jumped ahead a little bit to technical chat, which is like, I want to find out a little bit about you. Like, so where are you? Where are you now? Where are you living right now?
So right now I'm in Wanaka, New Zealand.
And now that is a beautiful place.
Have you been there?
I have. I travelled around New Zealand for 6 weeks years ago, like 15 or 20 years ago or something like that. And I was thinking this last night, it's like, I was going to talk to you, it's like this, I'm going to sound so old, but like technology is just amazing, isn't it? We're having a conversation that is essentially back and forth in semi-real time. Presumably the communication that we're having is going through several satellites and God knows how it's getting there. But I remember being in New Zealand, I can't remember exactly where I was, but on a payphone calling my mum, and like there being like a 3-second delay on the phone call. And I was thinking to myself, wow, like that, we are so far away from home. It's unbelievable. You know, like you don't really get an impression of just how far away like New Zealand is from Europe until you kind of I hadn't really got an idea until I'd had that. I was like, wow, we are seriously a long way away from home. And but now, yeah, it's extraordinary. But we toured around Wanaka and had a look there. I really liked that, and there were some other places. I can't remember the names of them all now, but we went slightly out of tourist season, and it's just what a place New Zealand is. It's just extraordinary.
Yeah, New Zealand is amazing, and yeah, it is so far away. But as you say, with like modern communication, it's so easy to talk to people now, and you know, even like I talk to a lot of my skiing friends back in Europe quite regularly about different things to do with skiing, and it's just so easy to communicate now, which is fantastic. And I think it makes New Zealand feel not as far away.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very, very long way away. And people think it's crazy when I say this. It's one day on a plane. And people go, 1 day on a plane, that's so long. And I'm like, yeah, it is long, but it's still only 1 day.
But you guys are used to that. Like, you don't mind, like, the people from the Southern Hemisphere just don't regard plane travel as a thing. Like, I get freaked out if I go over. We've got a flight next week to go to Romania, and it's 2.5 hours. I'm like, wow, that's so long. And it's like a day on a plane, I just can't even imagine it. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's just something that I'm so used to now.
Yeah.
You know, but this is going to be my 13th winter based here in Wanaka, which is pretty exciting to say that even, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's really cool. The place there's the place that I really remember that led me to quite a few other places in their own way, but was a place called Lake Tekapo, which is not far from Wanaka. And there they've got, it's the most beautiful place, listen, if you ever get a chance to go, it's absolutely extraordinary.
I'm actually driving through tomorrow.
Ah, amazing. So there is, there's a statue there that's sort of dedicated to the border collie, the dog. And it's kind of there because, you know, it's what allowed the initial settlers to New Zealand to kind of, you know, do the whole sheep thing and you know, make everything, you know, that sort of whole industry that revolves around New Zealand, lamb and all that stuff. And there's like I say, there's a statue there to that particular dog. And like, without this dog, we couldn't have done any of this. And that directly led to me kind of getting a dog when I came back home, blah blah blah. And so anyway, so it was just, that's one of the things I do really remember from the South Island, was that. And the other bit was going all the way down to the bottom. I think is it a place called Dunedin, right at the bottom of the South Island? Yes. That feels like the end of the world. There's like nothing after that.
Yeah, that's probably Bluff that you're talking about. Dunedin is a city down the south, but if you go to Bluff, it's kind of like there's just nothing past it. I suppose the only place that would be similar in the UK would maybe be John O'Groats or something, but still you've got the, you know, areas north of that as well.
Yeah. Ah, cool. So tell me about your skiing background. How did you get into this sport that we all love, and how you know, where's it taken you?
So basically, I didn't learn to ski as a young kid, but I the first time I ever went skiing, I was 11.
Okay.
Actually, I grew up in Christchurch, which is the biggest city in the South Island, and the Christchurch actually has a lot of places to ski within about 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. Mount Hutt being the biggest and kind of most well-known ski area near Christchurch. Mm-hmm. And when I was 11, my dad took me up to Mount Hutt because I begged him to take me skiing because I remember some of my friends had been and it sounded like a lot of fun. And I went and I just absolutely loved it and really got into it. But I could only ski, kind of a couple times a year, whether my dad took me up there or friends' parents, things like that, if they were going up. Mm-hmm. But then when I was maybe 14, my parents actually, for a short time, bought a business in Wanaka and ran it in Wanaka, and that allowed me to ski a lot more. Mm-hmm. So from about 14, I probably was skiing maybe 30 days a year.
Okay.
And I remember just deciding then that when I left school, I was going to do my level 1 and 2 qualification with NZSIA because I just loved it, and I loved the idea of being able to ski for a job, but also use that job to be able to travel and go to many different places around the world. Mm. So when I turned 18, I signed up for a level 1 and 2 program in Wanaka that I did during the 2010 winter, and I haven't stopped since. And I have also left the country every single year to ski somewhere else overseas and work and experience skiing in a different place.
Whereas, isn't that great to know at such a young age that that's what you want to do? Like it took me a while to find my way kind of back to skiing, but learned a fair bit on the way. I suppose every decision you take takes you somewhere for a reason. But it's lovely to have that clarity at such a young age to know that this is what you want to do.
Yeah, I just knew. I really just knew. I remember just thinking, it would be the coolest job. And a lot of New Zealand, it's quite traditional for ski instructors from New Zealand to work in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
During the off season, I know like in other countries, the odd person might do one season in Australia, New Zealand, or South America. Mm. But a lot of Kiwis do travel. So I remember doing lessons when I was younger and asking the instructor, where do you go? And they'd be like, I work in Vail in Colorado, or I work in Whistler. Mm. And I remember just thinking like, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah. It's lovely, but you do have that culture of travel there. You meet, I remember that, from living in London, you meet so many Kiwis and Australians. You're like, these guys are just happy to leave and just go. It's almost like a rite of passage, you guys just go. You leave and then, eventually maybe you find your way back. But there's definitely this culture of kind of getting away from the island and going to explore.
Absolutely. It's definitely a cultural thing that, we also share with the Australians. But I've always found myself still always having a lot of kind of desire to come back to New Zealand as well, because I love it down here. But I think I've developed that appreciation by travelling, because I have also never not come back. I've always left for the Northern Hemisphere winter, but I've always come back for the New Zealand winter.
Yeah. Do you get any summer? Like, when do you... I'm guessing if you're a bit like me, you're not necessarily a beach person, but like, do you ever... Because that's the danger, isn't it, by doing back-to-back winters all the time, is that you just don't... You miss out on that kind of seasonality. I find that I do need the summer now. I very much look forward to it, as opposed to kind of, living in this sort of monochrome world that you live in during the winter, where everything's kind of a shade of black or white and that's it. But my favourite season is the autumn, funnily enough. I absolutely love it, and I love the colours, and I love the kind of temperature, and then, as it's sort of turning towards winter. But do you get the chance to go and, I don't know, get some sunshine somewhere, or are you kind of just happy doing winters right now?
Well, I definitely try and get as much sun as possible while still doing winters. So the way I like to think about it is, the best part about doing 2 winters a year is you get 2 springs. Mm-hmm. And the New Zealand spring turns very quickly to quite warm, quite hot. Uh-huh. So October, November, some years I stay into December, so that is summer in New Zealand. Yeah. So I try and get a couple of months of relatively warm weather in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. But then I also try, I haven't done it for a few years because of COVID, but a couple of years ago, my wife and I, at the end of the season, went down to Sicily and enjoyed some sun in the Med. Some years I've also, at the end of the New Zealand season, gone up to Fiji, because it's nice. Fiji's only a 3-hour flight from New Zealand. Yeah. So I get summer weather, but as much as I can, but I don't have long periods of summer.
Yeah, okay. But it's enough, right? Enough to kind of get that kind of vitamin D hit, whatever you need.
Absolutely. And I'd like to try and get a little bit more, to be honest with you, but not too much more. Maybe just, a few more weeks here or there would be quite nice.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's cool. And so then that skiing journey has also taken you to different multiple kind of ski instructor systems as well. So you've had a good look round at some of the other systems that there exist in the world. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I started out with the NZSIA, the New Zealand Snow Sports Instructors Alliance, our association down here. Mm-hmm. And that, like I was saying, it gave me the opportunity to travel and gave me the exposure to different countries. So my first kind of cross-association expose, you might say, was with the CSIA, the Canadians, because I worked in Canada and I sat the CSIA level 3 just as something to do that I thought was interesting and cool. Mm-hmm. And it was a good challenge for me, to be able to try and switch my understanding of their kind of teaching theory and terminology, but also, make some minor adjustments in my technique to be able to fit that kind of Canadian mold. Mm-hmm. And that was my first thing I did with them, and I did originally have the intention of trying to sit the Canadian level 4 as well, but I've never been back in Canada or a place around the world that the CSIA offer their exams or offer their level 4 exams. So maybe one day I'll finish off the Canadian system. Mm-hmm.
And so I know that if I was listening to this podcast, I would want to dive deeper into that question. So in terms of, but maybe we also need to talk about other stuff before we dive into these questions. But I would like to drill down on those differences and say, what are the different things that they're talking about? What are the different teaching things that they're talking about? We should have that conversation. But before we do that, did you also dabble in the BASI system too, the British system?
Yes. So I have done the 4 Tech. Okay. I did the BASI 4 Tech in March 2021.
Okay, it's fairly recent.
Verbia.
Yeah.
I purely did the BASI 4 Tech because I know it's a very strong high level exam.
Yeah.
And I wanted to test myself and my ability to go and do that and have some more kind of a deeper understanding of the BASI Association.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other ones that I've done, I've also sat my IASI conversion.
Okay.
I did that in February 2021 as well with Jamie Kagan.
Okay.
So I converted all my qualifications and then did their level 2 mountain safety, which is their ISAA card level mountain safety.
Yeah.
So now I'm a full level 4 member of IASI.
Okay.
And the other international things I've done is I did a conversion course with the SAJ, the Japanese ski instructor, the Ski Association Japan, SAJ, because I wanted to do the technical competitions in Japan, and we can get into that a little bit
I'd love to.
at some point if you'd like. And you must hold a Japanese qualification in order to do that. So I did their equivalence test.
Uh-huh.
And the only other association I've had experience with is I don't hold a qualification, but I have attended and worked with a lot of PSAA people when I was working in the United States. So I attended some of their training days, and I also trained people for PSAA levels when I worked in the US.
Okay.
So I don't hold an American qualification, but I've got quite a good understanding of what they talk about.
All right. So here's the question then, and you can explore this in the depth that you want. We're all essentially talking about the same stuff, just with different names on it.
I completely agree.
Okay, so far so good.
Yeah, effectively we're trying to do the exact same thing. We're trying to demonstrate accurate skiing so we can show our customers what we want them to try and achieve, is the way I think about it.
Yeah.
The experience I've had with other associations and also having conversations with friends who have been involved in other associations is that different associations prioritize different things higher or lower.
Yeah.
So some associations might be looking for, their big thing might be early edging, early grip, early ski performance in the arc.
Yeah.
Some, which is quite an outcome-based, kind of priority. Mm-hmm. Some associations might be really prioritizing form and kind of the look that they want. Mm-hmm. Some associations might be prioritizing, it's still kind of like form, but like a specific movement pattern that they want to see their instructors achieving through the kind of levels of performance, you might say. And in order to pass exams in different countries, you will have to make slight technical adjustments. But at the end of the day, all associations agree on a flexed, kind of like, a level of flexion through the joints to be able to have a mobile athletic stance or posture, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
All associations believe in a round turn shape to control speed, balance on the outside ski, and you edge the skis with the lower body.
Okay. So there are certain fundamentals within skiing that don't change and haven't changed for quite a long time, even with the advent of more modern equipment. A ski is still a ski. We've still got to kind of bend it in the right way in order to get the ski to do what we want it to do depending on what our intention is.
Absolutely. And I think, like, what a lot of people see, in my opinion, a lot of ski instructors see, is when you look at the Japanese, okay, and you look at how the Japanese ski, a lot of people look at it and go, that's different, that's wrong. Or they might have a kind of a negative emotional reaction straight away to it because it's so different to what they're used to seeing.
Yes.
And what I've found through working in Japan, and like I've skied with some like, you know, high level Japanese demo team members, is when you ski on the snow in Japan, it's groomed really well, but it is the softest groomed snow you've ever skied on.
Okay.
It's like if you have a really cold, dry powder day, but then they groom it and you try and carve on it.
Okay, so it doesn't support massive loads. It doesn't support, you go through the surface, right?
Exactly. It doesn't have that big support. So a more inclined position with wider arm carriage and a narrower stance with the legs is actually what is required in order to create ski performance in that snow.
Yes.
Because if you look at the skis themselves in the snow, they are doing what you might say a traditional European ski technique is asking of them. It's just the image is very different because of the snow conditions. Like if you go to Japan and try and really arc it on that soft snow, if you've got a good touch for the snow and a good kind of understanding of where you need to put your body in order to create ski performance, almost everyone narrows their stance, widens their legs, narrows their stance, widens their arms, and inclines a little bit more. It just naturally happens because of the conditions.
Yeah, of course, right? Because you've got to bank up the snow underneath two skis in order to balance against it. That totally makes sense. Yeah. Huh? Okay, so they're I think we know this by now, but their technique, I'm saying it anyway for the sake of saying it, but their technique has developed according to their needs of the local market. And that will be the same throughout all of the other systems, right?
Well, absolutely. And like Japan, the Japanese technique is a very stylistic approach. They're not trying to look like ski racers. They're trying to have a stylistic approach that allows them to ski with fluidity and fluidity and clean movements around the whole mountain. That's what the customers want, and that's how the technique has developed. They like the look.
Is that cultural to the Japanese? Is that a thing that I don't know enough about Japanese culture but I do know that they're quite into the aesthetics of everything.
Yes, I believe that it is part of. I don't want to speak wrongly, and one of my Japanese friends is like, no, you got that wrong, but...
You can direct him towards me. I'm leading you to a certain place anyway, so...
From my foreigner perspective of doing 4 seasons in Japan, yes, it's quite a Japanese thing to, assume a certain look and try and go for it 100%. You see it in the fashion sense when you walk around the streets of Tokyo. Yeah. Because it's not just the technique. The ski instructors, they love to be quite flamboyant. They wear amazingly colourful ski clothing. We call them carving suits, and they'll have like orange and purple and green with all these lines over it and neon coloured zips, and all the top guys, they have like colourful goggles, colourful poles. Yeah. It's all about the look and the image and being a demonstrator.
And so we'll just shelve the Japanese thing for a second, because I want to come back to you and talk to you about technical champs, since I've got someone who's trying to do them. then if you had to talk about the New Zealand system, what has the technique that has come out of that? What kind of local needs is that serving?
So the New Zealand technique, first of all, I'll give you a little bit of background. The New Zealand technique has really been a melting pot because of, as we spoke earlier, New Zealanders travelling to go overseas to ski, and they've brought information back, but also a lot of internationals have come down to New Zealand for a season or two, and they have rubbed some of their technique off on us. Our technique is effectively been developed to ski in quite challenging conditions. New Zealand can have fantastic skiing, but it can also be really quite hard sometimes, like lack of snow, challenging, like challenging surface to ski on, poor visibility, things like that, and quite narrow runs. So, like for example, in the NZSIA, our high performance carving turn is not called a long turn. Okay. It's called a dynamic medium.
All right.
Because if you do a long turn in New Zealand, there's probably not enough room on the slope. It's narrow, and we have a lot of people on our slopes. So a long turn isn't particularly functional for New Zealand's conditions. We also don't have a very large focus in the New Zealand Association, and also in terms of lessons that come into the ski schools, on mogul skiing, because we don't really get that many bumps.
Okay.
There are certain isolated areas in the resorts that do bump up, but in general, New Zealand doesn't really get that many bumps because it's a very windy place. The South Island and the North Island, they're quite narrow farmland on east and west coast, high mountain ranges in the centre with the ocean either side. So we have a lot of wind. When I'm in the Alps, people say, oh, it's windy today. They're putting that lift on wind hold. I always think to myself, in New Zealand, that would run at least to 30 kilometres higher winds.
Yeah.
It's so windy in New Zealand that the bumps don't really form.
Okay.
So we, in our exams, and also what we'd present to our guests on the mountain, we have what's called, for our kind of off-piste, we call it situational skiing. So skiing to the situation off-piste. So that may be crud, ice, slush, powder. And in our exams, we'll mark people's situational skiing. So if there are bumps, we will do bumps, but there's probably not going to be. If it's like cruddy, wind-packed off-piste, we'll just mark people's ability to ski in that. Yeah, because a lot of New Zealanders do want to ski off-piste. A lot of our customers do want to ski off-piste, but the snow is challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's quite. It sounds almost Scottish, like this. The conditions that you're talking about. It's sort of wild landscape.
I've heard it's like a better version of Scottish skiing.
Yeah. Okay. And the Scottish skiing is kind of renowned for coming and going. It's kind of a bit variable. Like it will be there one day and then the next day the wind will have taken it all away and all that sort of stuff. It's I don't know, I haven't skied there yet. It's on my list. But it's a long way away from where I live now. Not to a Kiwi though.
It's on my list too.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll get there. I've got a lot of other things on our bucket list. There's a big list on our fridge, which is like places we want to go, and none of them are ski areas. So we'll see. But so I like that. I really like that idea of kind of situational skiing, because that's something that we do a lot when we talk about this with our work with sort of schools, where we talk about the philosophy of what we're going to teach the kids. And we kind of talk a little bit about what, just skiing, what the mountain gives you on any given day. If you've been out here for quite a long time, you notice how the seasons and how the weather changes, and you see repeating patterns of snow and situations, and you learn to adapt to those situations, which is quite an important thing. But if you go with the goal of right, today is 23rd of January, we're only going to go and do this thing, that's my lesson plan, but the mountain isn't giving you that, surely it's much better to get up the top of the mountain, look at what kind of conditions you're given that day, and then adapt your plan according to that. Right, today is a day where there's bumps everywhere. Let's go and learn out how to ski bumps. Today isn't necessarily the day that we're going to go and do the other thing. I really like that concept and that idea.
Absolutely, and I think that's really important, because if you're trying to teach skillful skiers, or you're trying to become a more skillful skier yourself, you've got to be able to understand the situation that's in front of you or about to be in front of you, and have the ability to make those technical and tactical adjustments in order to maintain flow and rhythm in those conditions. And I think that's what really shows an amazing skier. Like, it's interesting you mentioned earlier Richie Berger. I've been lucky enough to ski with Richie a couple of times, actually.
Very jealous.
And he is the master of that. The absolute master of that. He had a real strong, situational intelligence.
Yeah. What do I need to do now to get what I want to do? Yeah. It's one of the things that I do at the start of a lot of my lessons, actually, is that I'll say to the client or clients or whoever it is that I've got in front of me, so, right, okay, what we're going to do now is we're just going to go skiing for the first run. And when we get to the bottom of this, I want you to give me a sort of an analysis. So we're sort of doing a bit of both. We're doing a warm-up, so we're warming up by skiing, essentially. But the other one is I want you to give me an analysis of what the snow is like. Tell me all about the snow that you've understood from this first run that we're going to do. And normally you get quite some quite cool feedback, from people, and say, oh, well, it's a bit like this, it's a bit like this, and so, okay, cool. So let's go and work out how we ski this kind of snow, what kind of movements are going to work on this kind of snow. If the lesson is that sort of focus, but it's something that I often say, and I think it's really important to make that judgment. We do it kind of as instructors, we kind of do it a little bit automatically. It might take you sometimes a sort of a half a run to work out what the snow's like, but it's because we have that sort of deep, that deep body of experience of saying, okay, it's this kind of snow, now I know how I need to ski. But the clients don't always, they need to think more deliberately about that particular thing.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really key point to take into your teaching and when you're working with guests, because I try and do similar things when I'm teaching. Give the guest a question or a focus point to think about ski for a little bit, then you engage in a conversation with them to find out kind of where their head's at in terms of confidence and understanding of the situation, so then you can clearly tailor the lesson to them.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so then is there anything else in the Kiwi system that sort of jumps out? I think that situation awareness thing is an amazing one. I think that's really cool. But is there anything else that's in there that needs a mention, which is kind of specific to the region?
Specific to the region, I can't think of really actually anything off the top of my head that is really kind of... Oh, actually, this is not a technical thing. It's more of a teaching side. But the NZSIA has a lot of really strong kind of teaching structure, you might say, like really clear ways to build a lesson and adjust a lesson, or build a lesson plan but adjust it as you're working through the lesson to keep tailoring it to the guest's needs, but also how to present information and present a progression very clearly, because in New Zealand we have to train our instructors to be able to teach at a strong level, because we have the regular lesson in New Zealand is the group lesson, and a lot of our instructors might be a fresh kind of level one, or they've just done the season before kind of a 10-week gap program where they do the level one and the level two, and then they're out in the school holidays with 15 kids, or a 15 adult beginner lesson. So we've got really clear teaching structure in place, so they actually have a framework to work off, because some are otherwise it would be very hard for them to be able to deliver a clean lesson to the guests.
I did notice that last year, because a lot of our instructors are a little bit spoiled, because my ski school only does private lessons essentially, and so they get very used to the less experienced ones are not used to that kind of, I've got a group of a massive group of kids, and I joke about it often, because they just get spoilt by all these lovely lessons that they get to deliver in a private setting. It's like, you guys don't know anything, I remember the days when I was doing massive groups of kids, and you had to kind of got kids here, there and everywhere, blah blah blah, they're doing that old man shouts at the wind thing, and it's noticeable, that you get, when you've done a bit of that work, you get certain group management skills that become very useful in that situation.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, because when I think back as well, I've been a ski instructor, I think, for about 3 years before I'd ever taken a full day private.
Oh, yeah, you say, so you learn to manage the mob, right, first, before you get, it's the other way around in my ski school. You get all these lovely lessons, and I know. I sound so old, don't I?
And that's why, as well, because I think that kind of model of a ski school that only does private lessons, it is, from my experience, quite a traditionally European thing. There are some ski schools in Japan that do it, but it's definitely a European thing. And whenever I meet instructors that might be struggling to, let's say they're doing Basie, struggling to pass the 4 teach or something like that, I always tell them, do a season in New Zealand or Australia and just work as much as you can and train your teaching skills with these big group lessons, because it really does help you. And once you get it right, and you can do it well, I personally find quite almost a sense of achievement when I finish a big group lesson, and I think to myself, got through to everyone there. That was quite hard, but I did it.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's really true. And you can tell the people that have kind of done big groups, when we have school groups and stuff, you can tell the ones that are sort of pretty relaxed about it. My colleague Max, for example, I think he's done the whole New Zealand thing, or certainly I think he might have even done the Australian thing, which is even more of a sausage machine, I think. When up in Victoria, I can't remember what it's called, like Mount Buller or something like that. And he's done, he's done the summer there. It's like 650 hours of like relentless groups, and that is that really hones your skills, right? How to get a group to get going, and keep them all roughly at the same level, so that you progress with them at the same time. It's just it's interesting to see those who have done that kind of work, and I've done my fair share of picking up 5-year-olds in 3 different languages and all that sort of stuff. It does, it shows you the less glamorous side of the job, as opposed to kind of carving around the mountain teaching ski instructors to ski.
Absolutely. I have heard Mount Buller is the place that 650 hours of group lesson grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does hone in your skills. And I even think as well, it helps, even if you're working for a ski school that only does privates, and you might get kind of 3 friends that book a private or something like that. Doing those times, working those big groups will help you be able to manage those kind of semi-group private lessons that do occur quite regularly.
No, that's right. That's 100%.